Good morning. It's time for the Match Solitaire Saturday Challenge Live, where we race to complete the puzzles in the Match Solitaire Saturday Challenge for bragging rights for the week. Yeah. All right. I'm super happy to have Caitlin with us this morning. It's been a little while. Welcome.
Hi.
Sorry, I have the Halloween thumbnail on at the moment, but I ran out of time to update it, so you've got a little bit of Halloween spirit left today. So, all right, we got our screen set up. I don't have any special announcements today, believe it or not, except for maybe we have a team event. The Team Blue Diamonds is currently in the lead. We have
barely.
Yeah. Just barely, but and their Spades always in second place. Will they ever win? I don't know. And we have a Russian translation. It's fully complete. We're just waiting for the voiceovers, which should happen today. So I'm super excited to have a Russian translation in the App Store in the next couple of days, most likely. So that's awesome. Whole new market.
For voiceovers, so you're having Alice record the voiceovers in Russian too?
Yes. Well, only
cool.
for the tutorial.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't even realize the tutorial had sound. Okay.
Yeah, the tutorial, the first 3 levels are all voiced.
Got it. Okay.
So she's going to do those, but the characters are going to remain English because that's just too much.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
Yeah, and the trivia is not going to be localized, so I just turned it off in other languages. Sorry.
Oh, that's probably smart. I was wondering about that because, as well as David, as you know, I mean, so I've been working on the French translation.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Some of the trivia, I was like, I am not going to know at all how to translate some of that. So not having to do the trivia, I think will be, I think that's probably for the best.
Yeah, it was just too much. I don't think anyone's going to be able to do that. So we'd have to write all new trivia probably because a lot of the references and things wouldn't make sense anyway. So
yeah.
So yeah, no, the characters, the names will be in English, and their exclamations, their whatever, will be in English. But hopefully, hopefully people won't mind that. They're just English. I was thinking, if I was playing a game that was had French characters that were like oui oui or whatever. Alice is giving me terrible looks. But I would think that was great. So hopefully it works the same way in reverse. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's hope.
All right.
I'm going to apologize in advance if there's a kind of droning sound in the background. Someone outside is using a leaf blower.
Okay, great.
So
it's that time of year.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, by the way, we didn't do the introduction. So I'm David. I made this game. My screen's on the left.
I'm Allison. My screen's in the middle.
And I'm Caitlin. My screen's on the right.
Which we now have labels for. Yes.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the suggestion from Discord. Also from Discord, was it no number? Someone in the Discord let us know that the second and third puzzles are really easy. Okay. So don't know about the first one, but the second and third are supposedly easy. So we'll see. Yeah,
I feel like every time I go in hearing that one of them is easy, it just makes it harder.
I know, right? Because
then I just feel bad. I'm like, wait, I thought this was supposed to be an easy one, and then it just makes it even harder.
Yeah, it sometimes just depends on how you get started out. So
yeah.
Okay, so we'll start the challenge in just a minute, but stick around after. So we're going to have some interesting fun facts from. In fact, let's do a little teaser for them. What's the topic of your fun fact, Caitlin?
Oh, well, actually, so my fun fact was that I was going to explain the name of the dragon character that Allison and I have unlocked.
Ooh.
But we were
Okay.
also, I think what you're alluding to is that we were going to have a discussion topic.
Oh, that too. Yes. Whoops.
Is that what you were talking about?
Oh, no, actually both.
Oh.
Both. So,
Okay.
yeah. Allison, what's your fun fact topic?
My fun fact is about a member of the animal kingdom who I've recently become very fond of based on a documentary series we are watching.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh.
All right, I can't wait. Okay, let's get this challenge done. So,
Okay.
last week, I managed to come back from behind once
Yeah.
again. I don't think I've ever won without coming from behind. So, so that's my only chance.
You just like that underdog pressure.
I do. All right, so shall we get started?
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
Caitlin, you want to?
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. This doesn't look easy.
Well, the first one's not supposed to be
That's
easy.
true. Don't even know where to get started on this one.
And I mean, by not supposed to, I mean, nobody said the first one was easy.
That's true. That's true. I'm already having to start over. Darn it. I take it I'm alone in that. No one else said they were starting over.
Not yet.
Not yet,
I
yeah.
I might be headed there, but not yet.
Really? This one, not even sure. I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I don't feel good about any of it.
Done.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Come on. I am nowhere
Oops.
near done. How did you do that? Oh, no,
got a
and the
little
next
bit
two are
stuck.
supposedly easy. I'm doomed. Oh, I'm having to start over again. What? Am I just starting with the wrong one? This is super distracting hearing all these collections going on from Allison over here.
I'm done with number 1.
I'm done with number 2.
Oh my goodness.
Slam dunk.
David, I also regret to inform you that my last match on number 1 was 6s.
Was what?
6s.
6s.
Oh, great. Of course. Is that my problem, getting the 6s too early? I'm really struggling on this one. I'm making no progress. When I hear, I feel like
I need to focus
I feel
better.
like it's
What am I
coming.
doing?
Done.
Oh, come on. I'm still on the first one. All right.
I'm on number 3.
All right. Well, I think it's time to call it. Allison won again.
That was
Collecting all her
really
coins.
fast.
That was
I
super
have to
fast.
say.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I finished number 1 so fast. All right. Well,
Oh,
I
that was a
guess
lot
we'll
of pressure. That was so much pressure. Okay.
all right. So
I don't like knowing that they're easy. I agree with Caitlin. It creates like a weird like expectation in your brain of how it's
Yeah.
gonna go.
Yeah. All right. Fun facts. Allison, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So we have been watching the series Tiny World, narrated by Paul Rudd, Ant-Man himself. And
Oh, I didn't know that was Ant-Man.
What? How do you not know that was? I mean, if you
I
watched.
don't know names. I'm really bad with names. Ant-Man. Okay. Somebody forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb.
I did turn it on. Look.
Okay.
Look
All
at
right.
my
Fine.
little moon.
Fine.
Look at
fine.
my moon.
You're right. I don't
Okay.
know. Came through anyway.
So that was also to confirm our Thanksgiving reservations. So I do need to call them back. I think.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Going out.
Going out for
Don't
Thanksgiving.
do that very often anymore.
So anyway, the So in Tiny World, it's focused on kind of the smallest creatures in the animal kingdom, and each episode is different landscapes. So there's one on the savannah, there's one in the rainforest, there's even one in like the backyard garden. So it's very cute.
I gotta say, the cinematography is
amazing.
I just don't understand how they're getting these shots. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I'm usually
And where are you accessing this?
Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So and I particularly will shout out their time lapses of plant growth. Usually I think time lapses are cheesy, but these are gorgeous.
Yeah. But
So
they have like for example, an owl or some sort of falcon or something flying, but it's not like from the side with someone shooting it. It's like
face on.
somehow it's like they got like a camera right in front of it while it's flying. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really
Anyway.
amazing. But the kind of comedic hero of most of the episodes,
I'm hoping you're gonna say what
it's the dung beetle.
yes. Dung beetles. So funny.
They're hilarious. They are just like the best physical comedians you could ever possibly imagine. So I'm going to talk a little bit about dung beetles and not even be able to do them justice. So dung beetles are a classification of beetles. They get their name because they feed on feces. And they fall into kind of three distinct categories. There are tunnelers who bury dung, save it for later.
Oh.
There
We
are...
never got to see where the dung ended up. We just saw it in the process of being moved around.
Yeah. So the second kind is dwellers, and they actually live in manure and kind of eat around it. And then my favorite are the rollers, and they roll dung into balls, and they use it as both a food source and a mating chamber, which is called a brooding ball.
Oh.
So rollers can actually roll 10 times their weight, and they roll with their hind legs. So essentially they're like doing handstands and kicking the ball with their hind legs, which is hilarious.
Because they can't see
So
where they're
They
going.
have no idea where they're going.
So they're going backwards?
Yeah, they're going backwards.
Yeah, and have no idea where they're going. So they're always rolling the balls into just like
puddles,
horrible situations.
Off ledges. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's amazing. And then if you think like rolling 10 times your body weight is impressive, a tunneler can actually bury up to 250 times their body weight in a single night. So like in a single 8-hour period. They are legitimately impressive.
Yeah.
And they're also super important to ecosystems. So their like movement of dung through like the rolling or the burying actually improves nutrient recycling in soil. And kind of a lot of studies have been done, and they don't think that cattle ranching would be successful in Australia or in the US or in Mexico, where there's significant industries, because if the beetles weren't there to remove the dung, it would create a lot of different kinds of infections in the cattle population that they don't have to deal with. They're also very important in developing countries to keep kind of large pasture areas relatively hygienic, because you don't have like disease growing based on having like excess feces from livestock or wild animals.
Yeah, it was super impressive to see. Like,
That's cool.
Yeah.
They got a shot of a howler monkey up in a tree taking a dump, and it lands on a leaf like halfway up the tree.
And the beetle's like on it.
Yeah, they're like one after the other. They just roll up a ball of it and then fall off the leaf like
Daredevil
like
style.
30 feet to the ground. Boom. And
Then they're off and rolling.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. They are amazing little weirdos, and you will fall in love with beetles if you watch this series.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oops.
So that's my fun fact about dung beetles.
Yeah. If you only watch one episode of Tiny World, Tiny World, watch the dung beetle episode.
Well, they're in multiple episodes because they
That's
thrive
true.
in different ecosystems.
That's true. Oh
But
my gosh.
the ones in the savannah are the best.
Yes, one
Yeah.
where he rolls it into like a deep elephant track.
Yeah.
And he's just struggling and
He's
to
like a
push
little
it out.
Sisyphus. It's amazing. It's like
It's
crazy.
almost to the top, and then it rolls down.
Yeah.
But he finally got it out. So.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Hey, your screen, come on.
I'm busy narrating
Amateur
about
hour. Okay, fine. You do a good job. Okay, so that is a
Oh,
very
it's
fun
not-
fact.
It's not flying anymore. Why don't you do your job?
Oh my gosh, she always manages to make the dragon stop flying somehow. I still have not figured out when that happens, but sure enough, it's just
I feel like so I've definitely noticed it with Nessie that a lot of times I will come out of a level and she won't be swimming. The dragon has been a little more consistent.
okay. All right.
But there's no music. Is that is that supposed to not have music yet?
Oh yeah, Rosalind, the dragon does not have music yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Charlotte Veronica is busy working on it and has a theme, but doesn't actually have the music ready yet. So.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't a glitch.
Yeah.
Also, so I think if you notice, my dragon is flying faster than Allison's right now.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's wrong with my dragon, David?
Yeah, geez,
I have a
David.
lethargic dragon.
I mean, I definitely feel like
I think yours is going too fast.
Because I was thinking that I sometimes would
speed it
see, with the dragon and then with Nessie, because they're animated continuously. Sometimes they're faster and sometimes they're slower, and I was like, maybe that's just my eyes playing tricks on me. But looking at it now, seeing them side by side, you can tell.
You're right. Wow. Okay. If you scroll back away and then come back, I wonder if it'll be the same speed then.
Oh, mine slowed down.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness.
Ooh,
Sorry,
you.
excuse me. I don't have a switch to turn off my mic. So I'm sure that was pleasant for everyone. All right. So this is the perfect time, I think, to segue into Caitlin's fun fact.
Sure.
I can't wait.
Okay. So this dragon that you're looking at right now her name is Rosalind.
Yes.
And I was the one who named her.
Yep.
And so I wanted to name, I kind of came into it as, David was saying, okay, we're going to have these new characters. And if you want to suggest names, feel free to do so. And I was like gung-ho about, I wanted to name a character after Rosalind Franklin.
Ah.
So Rosalind Franklin, she was a scientist who worked on the structure of DNA. So if you're familiar with this, the famous double helix structure,
Yes.
was solved by a group of scientists a number of decades ago now. It's 50s-ish or something. I might be off on that. I'm not good with dates. Anyway, so it was solved by this group of scientists, and then a number of years later, the number of them won the Nobel Prize. And so possibly you've heard the names Watson and Crick, as the two guys who are really famous for doing this.
What? Okay.
Rosalind Franklin was one of their collaborators, and she was actually the one who collected the data that produced the so it's a technique called X-ray crystallography that involves, you make a crystal out of whatever molecule you're trying to study, DNA, protein, whatever it is, biological molecule, and then you basically shoot a laser at it, and based on the structure of the molecule, it makes the laser light go off in a bunch of different directions. And people who are experts in this can take that pattern, that it's called a diffraction, the way that the light is diffracted out, and use that to generate what the structure of the molecule looks like. So, I mean, we have computers for doing this nowadays, right? But, people who are, I don't know exactly, it feels a little bit magical to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, people who are experts in this can take that diffraction pattern and make a structure out of it. So that's what they did. That's how these researchers figured out this double helix structure of DNA. So Rosalind Franklin was integral to this effort because she's the crystallographer who collected this data. However, because she was a woman, she got pretty, shortchanged on credit for the discovery.
Man.
And then the other thing is that she died before the Nobel Prize was awarded.
Oh.
And Nobel Prizes can only be awarded to people who are still alive. So she...
Oh, I didn't know that restriction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she, I mean, it's questionable whether, again, because she was a woman in that time period, whether she would have gotten, part of the Nobel Prize for it had she lived. But so kind of double whammy. First, she got shortchanged by Watson and Crick because she was a woman, and then she got shortchanged again because she died before the Nobel Prize was awarded. But
man.
and I believe died. This is a downer. I'm sorry. This is not much of a fun fact anymore. But
that's okay.
But she died of cancer, which she probably got because of the work she was doing with these the lasers.
No.
Yeah. I mean, we have obviously much better safety protocols nowadays, but people didn't know. Same thing with like Marie Curie, and her radiation work. So.
Right.
Anyway, sorry to be a downer, but I was like, all right, I want to give Rosalind Franklin some credit. If there's a character that I can plausibly name after her, I'm going to do it.
Yes, that's right. So, she may not have gotten
I said, sorry. So this is, this character is now a dragon. At one time it was going to be a basilisk. And so so that's why I picked this character to be named Rosalind, because at least in mythology, basilisks, and I guess also the Harry Potter version of basilisks, they have this, kind of deathly stare, right? And so I thought there was a nice analogy there between the lasers that you use in, X-ray crystallography and
that's pretty
then
deep.
It kind of morphed into a dragon, but I think still, still cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. She may not have gotten a Nobel Prize, but she's a character in Match Solitaire, so...
All right.
Yes.
We do what we can,
yes.
Yeah.
Caitlin, I'm looking this up now, but I think a way to reframe in a positive way, I believe this year is the first year two women... a woman has won the Nobel Prize in chemistry, but it was shared by two women this year, so I'm double-checking that.
Oh.
Yes, yes. Women have won the Nobel Prize in chemistry before, but this was the first. So a Nobel Prize can be shared, and often is, especially in the modern era. But this is the first year that it was shared by two women.
Okay, and related for the development of a method for genome editing.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Allison, you might have to
save it for next week.
Yeah, to save this thing for next week. But she was just telling me this morning some really fascinating historical facts about female fighter pilots in Russia, which sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so. I love stuff you missed in history. I learned so much from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if next week you want me to explain CRISPR, which is the method that this year's Nobel Prize was won for, I can.
Sure, that sounds fascinating. Yeah. All right, something to look forward to next week. Awesome. Well,
Sorry, just a second.
Okay. Last week we had a little conversation after the show.
Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out. I put my hand over the microphone. I don't know if I actually. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Sorry about that interruption. Anyway.
Well, I was just saying that last week we had a little discussion after the show that I thought was really interesting, that people might want to hear about, and it's related to the fact that Allison, over the past couple of weeks and the next couple of weeks, is moving to a new apartment. And let's just say that her old apartment was suffering a little bit from an overabundant quantity of books and maybe some clothes and maybe some shoes. Just a lot of stuff for a studio apartment. So
okay, so I'm going to interject here and say that men always think women have too many shoes, and it is not true. So I'm on Allison's side here.
All right. Well,
unless you're Imelda Marcos,
exactly,
you probably do not have too many shoes.
Yeah.
Well, I think she had too many shoes to fit into the space. We can say that much.
That would be fair.
Okay.
That would be fair.
She needs a bigger
General
space
lack of closet
if she's
space
going
in
to have
my
that
studio.
many shoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not crazy. It's not a crazy amount of shoes. But just you know, New York City living, you need to be super. You just need to live with fewer things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and closet space, I imagine, is at a super premium.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is.
I have no closets in this place. I got a couple of freestanding wardrobes, but no like dedicated closet space. But yep, it's it's interesting. But anyway, Caitlin, you brought up Marie Kondo, and had some awesome tips, I thought, for how to, because you know, you get really attached to things and it's really hard to pare things down. But you had some tips from Marie Kondo.
Yeah. So, I mean, her whole thing is, I mean, she I think goes a little overboard for my taste on the like minimalism, but I think it's, you know, everyone has different tastes, right?
Yep.
But her whole thing is that you keep what sparks joy, is the phrase she uses, and you get rid of what doesn't. So, because a lot of people have trouble getting rid of stuff. I mean, I definitely have been that way, and still am sometimes with certain things. You know, you think, oh, I'm going to use that someday, or I'm going to wear that sweater someday, even though I haven't, and I've had it for 5 years or whatever. And so basically, what Marie Kondo will tell people to do is take, you know, you take all your clothes out of your closet and wherever they are, and you dump them all in your bed, and then you go through them one by one, and you basically hold everything in your hand, and you know, like, listen to your gut. Does this spark joy for you or not? And if it does, you put it back in your closet, and if it doesn't, then you know, put it in the pile to be donated or whatever you're going to do with it. And so it sounds really cheesy, but I think the thing that I think that really that resonated for me, and so I guess I should also say that you know, the process of doing that the goal isn't to like get your collection down to a minimal number of shirts or whatever. It's, you know, however many you know are comfortable with, and make sure that the ones you're keeping are the ones that you really like. And so for some people that's going to be 10 shirts, and for some people that's going to be 40 shirts. You know, it's all dependent on your lifestyle. Anyway.
Awesome. I gotta say, I'm really sorry, but I said we wouldn't talk about politics or anything on this stream. But
you will hear air horns.
If you're wondering why everyone's screaming and there are air horns all over, it's because a result was just called for the election, and the city is going nuts. So it was it was super distracting. But
of course it would happen while we were in the
right.
Anyway,
hold on one second. I'm gonna. Okay. Go ahead. But I'm just going to be disconnected for a second.
Where was I? So the whole idea, Marie's whole idea of you hold everything and determine whether or not it sparks joy. It's a little cheesy, but I think that really what it helps with is kind of reframing the decision of what you want to get rid of and what you want to keep. Because so many of us, you know, we say, oh, I need to clean out my closet. Oh, I need to clean out my bookshelf or whatever. And you start looking at everything and you go, do I want to get rid? You're looking for things. You naturally kind of go into it looking for the things you want to get rid of. And I think that by reframing that as what are the things I want to keep, and then whatever happens to be left over is what you get rid of, I think that it reframes it in a more positive way. So yeah. That's... You know, you've got your pile of clothes on the bed in my example, and you go, oh, that's my favorite shirt. That's my favorite sweater. Yeah. That's my favorite pair of pants. And then you kind of, you know, you're picking out the things. Oh, I really like that. Oh, I really like that. Oh, I really like that. And then at some point you kind of go, all right, the rest of it is gonna, you know, I'm going to get rid of, and maybe you have a number in mind. Like you say, okay, I've got 50 things on the bed here. I want to keep, you know, I'm willing to keep 35 of them. So you're picking out your, you know, top 35 as opposed to your bottom 15 in that example. Yeah. yeah, so
So the thing that I've had problems with, Caitlin, is I can be really ruthless about clothes and shoes. I can really think about those as like, functional. Is it something I love, enjoy, get regular use out of? No issue with those. It's the books that I have problems with. So I have kind of two categories of books. One are my own books that I've accumulated throughout the years, because I was an English and history major, and that's what my graduate degree is in too. So I have a lot of novels, and I have a lot of history books. So I can be, I'm not going to reread, some of the origins of the American Revolution texts again. I can part with those. But my second category of books, so my great uncle, who was just a phenomenal guy, he was a writer, he was an editor, he did a lot of cool things. And so I inherited his book collection when he passed away.
I see.
So, those are the ones.
So there's the emotional attachment on those ones.
Exactly. So David tried to get me to keep, he had a thesaurus that I think weighed over 25 pounds.
I thought it was a dictionary.
Oh my goodness.
Was it a dictionary?
Yeah, it's a dictionary. It's massive, and it's so cool. Just to see that many words. I didn't even know there were that many words in the language.
But it's it's not something that I think he had a sentimental attachment to. It's just it was something he needed before he didn't have access to something else, to an internet. So I was like, okay, that I can part with. But I
couldn't part with that. I mean, that is the coolest book I've ever seen. I've never seen a binding that thick.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's not like encyclopedias where there's 20 volumes.
Yeah,
it's bound
it
into
must have
one.
been at least 11 inches of binding.
Yeah, it's insane.
So, but it's he has the complete works of Edward Albee because he knew him. So it's it doesn't. I can't part with it. So that was the hardest part. So I mostly purged my own books and kept most of his books. So I bought the wrong size boxes for books because I just did.
Poor TaskRabbit guy.
Yeah, poor TaskRabbit guy. So I donated 5 full boxes that were probably
It was only 5?
Oh, 6.
Yeah,
6 boxes of books that were about 3 feet by 2 feet.
Yeah.
So I think I donated.
That's pretty big boxes.
Yeah, they were too heavy. I'm sorry, TaskRabbit. In my walk-up. So I probably, I think, easily got rid of maybe 200 books.
Wow.
But I probably, I underestimated my collection. I think I still have about 300.
Okay. Yeah. When we talked last time, you were estimating you had about 400 books, and you were trying to get
down to 100.
Yeah, down to 100.
It's not going to happen.
That could happen. But the good thing is in her new space.
Yeah, the sentimental stuff is really hard.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you there. I mean, it's sort of, you can look at it as a process. This time you weren't ready to get rid of some of his books, but maybe if you do it again in a year or two, you'll be like, okay, I'm willing to get rid of some of these, or you'll naturally feel more of an attachment to some than others. And, and for some of those, I mean, maybe, I don't know what your store, if you're going to have a storage space or whatnot.
So what I'm going to do is I've looked at a lot of bookcase, wall units and shelving units. So I think I'm going to do a low bookcase that is about 20 feet long that goes
she's got one really long wall.
That I'm going to do there that I think will work, and I think everything will fit into that because we measured kind of the volume of the books and the studio that's left, and it should fit into this new space pretty comfortably as long as I don't buy anything new or just trade one in, one out. There are also there are also some things because a lot of the old bookstores in New York City aren't taking things for sale right now. You can only drop off a box, but you can't get it back if you don't like the sale value. And so I have 2 complete collections of Proust. So it's I only need to keep one of them, but I'm not, I will sell the other one. So some things are just moving temporarily.
I like that
Yeah.
idea of
Yeah.
having a fixed size space and then having to trade one in, one out if you acquire new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And I
works
think
for me.
once you get to, you can kind of once you can get to an equilibrium where you're
Yeah.
doing that, I think that's, totally healthy. It's getting to that point that I know
Yeah.
is really hard.
And I do
Yeah.
love the idea. I was there while she was making some of these decisions, and I think it definitely made a positive impact on her emotional well-being to think of things in terms of like keeping the good stuff
Yeah.
rather than getting rid of having to get rid of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do, and this is not a Marie Kondo thing, this is just a trick I've picked up, is especially if you want to go through like a box of stuff that is kind of mementos, but you haven't looked at, it's not stuff you look at all the time, and definitely not anything that's really useful, but it's stuff that you're trying to keep, that you've kept because of more sentimental values. Is if you kind of sit down and you picture what you think is in the box, and you're like, okay, well, I know that there's this book in there, and I know that there's this photo album, and I know that there's this thing that I bought at Disneyland or whatever it is, and you're thinking about these things before you even look in it, right?
Yeah.
And you think about kind of what's in there and what you want to keep. And then when you open up the box, you can pull those things out, and then a lot of things you're like, oh, I forgot about this. And you're like, well, if I didn't think about it before I opened the box, it's probably not as important.
Yeah.
And so that's another trick
That's very true.
I use sometimes.
I actually, I completely changed my life. It's been 6 or 7 years now. Yeah. But I have a whole ton of stuff in a storage shed that I have not missed in that long. I couldn't even tell you much of what's in there.
Caitlin,
Right.
he's lying.
What?
What?
Because every time he is like a weird, he hates shopping, except he loves talking about kitchen gadgets, kitchen utensils, and he's like, I have one of those, I have that, I used to use that. So I will say that's true for whatever 80% of what is in your storage, but if you had space for all of your kitchen gadgets, they would be in here.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I do enjoy them, but like I've gotten by for 6 years without them.
That's true.
And
You've gotten by, but what's your
don't-
quality of life then?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Fine.
so you should watch the Marie Kondo show on Netflix. It's only like 6 or 8 episodes. It's not very long. There is one episode with a person where she works with a person who has a lot of kitchen gadgets.
Okay.
And her thing is basically you get rid of all the stuff that is like a single-use kitchen gadget, and you keep the things that you use for more than one purpose.
I do
right?
love multi-purpose things. Yeah. And I wish I could be more ruthless about, if it's not being used, it goes away.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who's like that, but I'm a pack rat. When I had to pack up everything and move into a studio, or actually I moved into my car for a while. But anyway, so I had to really pare down, and I could not do it. I got my aunt who was on the stream. She was on the stream, Aunt Ann. She came out, and she's an interior designer, and she's just really got a talent for these kinds of things. But she wanted to like organize everything, which she did, and then wanted me to go through and say which things I wanted to keep and which things I didn't. And I could not say no to anything. I realized. So I had to just tell her, like, I'm leaving, and I just don't want to know. Just you decide for me. So she managed to get everything down into a nice collection. And the good thing is I don't even know what she got rid of. So, and I will never miss it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But
So another thing that Marie Kondo says is that, and I read her book, and so this is a thing that she definitely goes into in her book more than in the TV show, but it's touched on in the Netflix show, is that you start with things that are easier to sort through and kind of like strengthen your emotional muscles before you tackle the things that are harder.
That's smart.
So you don't want to dive in and be like, I'm going to go through my photos, right? If you have a lot of like physical photos, or you don't go, I'm going to dive in and do my like mementos, right? Or my, my dead grandmother's whatever, you don't start with the stuff that you have the stronger emotional attachment to. So, most people start with clothes because like Allison, they're, they've more or less developed the technique of like cleaning that out.
Right? I can't even do that. I remember watching, what was that show?
We've been watching the Home Edit.
Oh, we watched that, but years ago.
I haven't watched that because I don't know. I think I read a review of it that was like, well, if you like Marie Kondo, you might not like this as much. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to bother. But
yeah, they're a little bit more, they're into editing things that you don't use and love. They do an edit, but it is a more maximalist style with how they arrange things and like the purchase of like containers and bins and display. So that's it's all hidden.
Marie is very much about like you use if you have like some little boxes, you use those as like your dividers in your drawers, and you use kind of what you have. As opposed to going out and buying a lot of stuff. So that's more my speed than the going out and like, especially buying a lot of like plastic things because I'm like, oh, this isn't good for the environment and stuff. So
you wouldn't like this then. But there was a show years ago about hoarders. Hoarders,
I never had the heart to watch that.
So I watched a couple of episodes of that, and that was certainly motivating. I just remember this one scene where there's a woman who had her house was completely packed. One of those where there's only like things are really piled like shoulder head high, and there are paths through the house, just through all the stuff. And her friends really wanted to help her out, and they sat down and they were helping her to go through things. And one of them, and they just couldn't find anything that they could get rid of because they would run everything by her. And then I just remember this one thing, like they pulled out, one of her friends pulled out an envelope and said, oh, here's something you can certainly get rid of. It's a bill from like 10 years ago. And she looks at it and she's like, oh, that's got my old address on it. I can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
And I realized that's like, I realize I have that in me. Like, when I see like an old address, I also want to keep it. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a hoarder. So that really motivated me to okay, I need some help. Got to do something about this. But I think part of I was thinking about the root of the problem, and I think one of my theories, I don't know if this is true or not, but one of my personal theories is that it has to do with how hard it is for you to acquire things. So like if you grew up poor and you always wanted things that you couldn't have, and then you finally acquired some things, I think it's more difficult than if you always could just throw things away and get something, replace it again down the road if you wanted to, or get something new. So I don't know. I just see it. I see it as like.
I think there's definitely an element of that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So I definitely have that that tendency, even though that may not be as true anymore. But but anyway, it's. But I will say, on a positive note, that once I went through the process and I pared my life down, and I was able to hit the road with only stuff that fit in my car. And then when I came here to New York, only one, what did you call that?
Duffel bag.
One duffel bag of stuff. I felt like a huge weight had lifted from my life, and I was no longer chained down, and I just felt free. So it was tough to do, but it was super rewarding in the end. Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah, I think another part of it is that it's like a decision fatigue kind of happens where, you're like, oh, I don't want to make a decision whether or not to keep this. And so you just don't make the decision and you keep it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to take things in small pieces, right? You can't be like, I'm going to do my entire apartment in one day or one weekend or whatever. You have to say, I'm going to tackle my clothes, or I'm going to tackle this subset of my books or whatever. Because decision fatigue is a real thing for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense to work on like a section at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Some people will do a room at a time or like but I think I like I like to do the group by by topic. So instead,
if
you've got books in 3 different rooms of your house. I mean, I guess doesn't apply if you have a studio apartment, but
but I have different areas in the apartment where there are books,
right? Because you don't live in New York City. And
That's
you have
true.
things that are spread out, right? Or you have clothes in multiple closets or whatever.
She's got like the fireplace books, the bookshelf books, the over the closet books, the under the bed books. She's got sections too. They're just not divided by walls. That's all.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's see. I'm going to meet Alice and have some coffee and talk about Russian translation a little bit. Allison's got a fun project coming up right after this.
Yeah, I'm taking a class, an online class with Cassie, and we're making autumnal wreaths. So I have to clear off the podcasting desk and set up all of the wreath stuff.
Yeah, that's exciting. I can't wait to see what she does. Last time she did a project with Cassie was embroidery.
Yeah.
And she really enjoyed it, and started doing some embroidery on her own for a while.
Yeah. So I don't think I'll be a wreath maker because they sent the supplies and it's kind of a big box. But
I can't wait to see what's in that box. She hasn't opened it yet.
Yeah, you definitely need a lot of space to do that.
Yeah,
or a lot more than you do to like do embroidery or other needlework. Or fiber crafts. I guess you could like knitting and crocheting and stuff. So
but it might be a nice, warm thing to have at the new apartment. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, the new apartment with a door, man. Oh my gosh, I gotta say that is
fancy.
David's very impressed by being greeted so often.
I know, it's so weird to walk in and someone opens the door for you and says hi. No, like here it's I live in Hell's Kitchen. It's not anything like that. It's like it's very unwelcoming.
Yeah. The Upper West Side is very civilized.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but also it's really impressive. Yeah. So pretty exciting. Yeah. Anyway, I guess that will do it for today.
Yeah.
Today's show. We'll see you again next Saturday for another challenge where hopefully I will win again.
Maybe. You never know. You never know, buddy.
Keep hope alive.
Yes, I do. I do have hope. So until then, we will. We'll see you later. Bye.
All right. Bye.